Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me, your host, Derek Lane, for the Fast Lane Podcast for Success. Thanks again for being with me on another night. Tonight we will kind of take a little different subject here. We're going to talk a little bit about speeches. What does it mean? You know, why should you do it? Who should care? How do you prepare for it? You know, some of the things that I know that speaking it's been a lot of people's, their nemesis, if you will. They just don't want to do it and be out in front of people and speaking. But there are ways to go around it to be, successful in speaking, to put aside some of those fears. And we'll address some of that tonight. We're going to have a little fun with it too. I've got a couple of clips that I want to play for you that ought to be fun. So with that, we will engage into tonight's episode of the Fast Lane. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are interested in making speaking a career. It doesn't matter, because speaking is very important. When you're moving ahead in your career, or even if you're an entrepreneur, you're like, well, I don't really care about the corporate world. That doesn't apply to me. Well, speaking does, because you oftentimes have to be very persuasive, and with clients and new clients and old clients. So you have to give speeches from time to time, whether you think you do or you don't. You do, and engaging into a good speech is again, it's a critical moment in your career. You want to make it good. You want to make it meaningful. You want the speech to be something that folks will remember. Think about some of the greatest leaders that we've had, in the world, not just the United States. Great orators. Very good at speaking. Winston Churchill. Great speaker. Ronald Reagan, great speaker. Martin Luther King, great speaker. But the list goes on and on. There's just a ton of great speakers out there. But what they all have in common is they projected passion into what they were talking about. They weren't just idle words that someone wrote for them and they're just delivering. They believed in what they were talking about. So you have to harness the power that they used when giving a speech. You've got to be just as passionate about what you're talking about. You've got to know what you're talking about. You can't just wing it. Somebody's gonna call you out on it if you're just winging it. And then you're not the expert anymore. So if you're giving a speech, as the expert, speaking is like writing. Write what you know. Write things that you know about. Speak what you know about. Speak from the heart. Speak from that passion that drives you. That's what makes great speeches. And again, we all have to give speeches from time to time. I promised that I would have a little fun with this. I'm going to bring up a speech that I love from one of my favorite movies, and you'll see what I'm talking about when one of the greatest speakers that I know delivers a line in the movie Field of Dreams. So let's see if we can cue that up for you right quick.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. Sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines of they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
People will come, Ray.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
Awesome. That is, again, one of my favorite. But you can see that delivering speeches is, is powerful. It's gives you the the platform that you need to get the message across. And when the speech is good, no one questions it. And part of the reason that you give speeches is, you capture people's attention. But don't try to capture somebody's attention if you have nothing to say. Make sure it's good. I will share a personal story. I was asked to give a speech in a wedding for a good friend of mine, and absolutely. And the passage, it's been some years back, but so I can't recite the exact passage. But the message here is that when I gave the speech, I lost my place, and I ad-libbed. And it just for a split second, I panicked and was like, "Oh, I got everybody's attention, a room full of people that I'm giving a speech to, and I've lost my place. My, holy crap, where am I going here?" So I ad-libbed a little bit and kind of, said what came to mind, and then. Fortunately, I regained my composure and, as to where I should be during the speech and picked it back up. But the interesting thing was because of the delivery and because of what, how involved I was in connecting with my audience, making sure that, I looked out on my audience, straight in the eyes, looking at people, focused, body language, upright, giving assurance with some, head nodding that, what I was saying was heartfelt. And, believe it or not, even with pauses mean a lot at the right time. It gives people time to reflect on maybe some point that you just made. So if you're in a speech and you come to a part of this speech where the point is, I want you to get this, then put it out there. And sometimes you can repeat that point, put it out there, pause just for a second, look at them, and move on. But again, it was being able to fuel the speech with more of a passion and emotion versus the exact content. So I share that with you just to let you know that, hey, everybody trips here and there. It's perfectly normal. It's okay. I'm going to play another clip for you. Hopefully you enjoy that. The one before that was awesome. The next one is a little more powerful as far as giving a speech and getting it out there. And you'll recognize this. I won't even set it up. You'll recognize it.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the Code Red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Did you order the Code Red?
I did the job. Did you order the Code Red? You're goddamn right I did!
Wow, good stuff. You don't forget those moments. You know, when you first see that movie and you watch that scene, it sticks with you. You know, and probably one of the most repeated lines. You can handle the truth. Just powerful, and that's my point. That's my point. When you give speeches, they can be very powerful. They can be life-changing. They can change other people's lives, and that's a good thing as long as it's the speech is in the a positive manner. You're changing somebody's life for the positive. But sometimes negative information changes people's lives as well. There's speakers out there that talk about their own personal tragedies, but they do it in a way that helps you know the path that you're on. So they're there to help you. Don't fall into the pitfalls of what I experienced type of speeches, and that's okay. That's great. But again, you may think, well, hey, Derek, this doesn't apply to me. I dig all of the podcasts, but the speech thing, well, I would ask you to think about it a little more than just passing it off. Think about it, because if you were to consider the opportunity to give a speech, whether it's at your church, at your work, Little League baseball, whatever it is, a toast, there are opportunities to shine. Don't be the person that sits in the back of the room and just watches everybody else, and of course you've got comments. Take a chance and be the person